Hello everybody, it's the Fantasy Football Almanac here, back at it with another best ball draft video. Today we're hopping in another puppy draft where we landed the fourth pick. With the fourth pick, there's a couple guys we're eyeing up, but it's definitely going to be a receiver, whether that be Cooper Kupp or Justin Jefferson. Either one, can't be too mad. Christian McCaffrey does come off the board, so now it's up to whoever A. Christie takes. He takes Cooper Kupp. We're going with Justin Jefferson here. With the fourth overall pick, there's pretty much only one player I'm going, unless Cooper Kupp or Christian McCaffrey falls. Justin Jefferson is the pick nearly every time. Here we're drafting up against some funny names. We got Top Dog 22, M Straight, a Christie 1990, Socrates, that's good. Rarster, Mighty O'Neal, Witty 51, Edelman, TD for 3. It's just not true. TD usually for 6, but hey, you do you. Miss Sealy and Muggs. We had a couple of experienced people. That is Socrates, a very advanced joke. He takes Jamar Chase. Then we have Roster taking Austin Eckler here at the 6th pick. Mighty O'Neal taking Stephon Diggs at the 107. Pretty standard draft so far. The only thing that could have went a little bit awry would be Derrick Henry going at 8, which he did. Dalvin Cook at 9. And now we start getting into the decisions. Decisions. Garage looks like precision collision. So here, there's a couple ways you can go. You can go Najee, Davante Adams, Travis Kelce, CeeDee Lamb, Joe Mixon, DeAndre Swift. Here, I do prefer getting Najee. I think Najee's probably the move at the 110. I just think he's the best player available. Pretty much by far, he's walking into 350 touches in that offense, and you can't ask for much more than 350 touches. Steelers' offense will be pretty bad, but that means if the Steelers' offense is bad, he's going to be getting more targets because they're going to be playing from behind more. They're going to be playing from behind a lot more. So that's why I like Najee Harris a lot. I think he is the right pick, and you can always hope for somebody like Davante Adams or CeeDee Lamb to fall, but Muggs takes away that possibility completely. Travis Kelce, I think, is an interesting pick as well. I don't get why he's going so far ahead of Mark Andrews, but it is pretty interesting. Then we have Joe Mixon and DeAndre Swift, back-to-back running backs. I do think that is pretty much the right order, so to speak. We got Aaron Jones coming off here at pick 204. We still have Mike Evans on the board, which is a little surprising. I feel like people do love taking their Mike Evans as he goes off the board at pick 17. Here we are hoping for Saquon Barkley, but I'm imagining it's probably not going to happen. So if we could get either Deebo or Mark Andrews here, I would not be mad at all. All we need is one reach, and there we get it. We got Leonard Fournette coming off the board at pick 18. So now we're guaranteed one of either, not Saquon anymore, but Deebo or Mark Andrews, which I will gladly take either of. Socrates, let's see what he takes. He's a very educated man. With a name like Socrates, you kind of have to be. I kind of hope he doesn't leave us with a decision. I don't want to take a decision between Deebo Samuel and Mark Andrews, so we will go Deebo Samuel here. Getting Deebo Samuel, I really do like him here, especially because it is possible, not plausible, but it is possible. Nick Chubb falls. It is possible we can get a Keenan Allen. At this point, I wouldn't really want to take any of the other running backs, such as James Conner, Alvin Kamara, or Travis Etienne. But I do think it is an interesting thought. Tyreek Hill goes off the board to A. Christie, and T. Higgins comes off the board. It is possible he end up with Javonte Williams as well, although I don't know if I necessarily want him. I think he will be off the board, most likely. But it has been an interesting draft so far. A lot of running backs coming off the board early, which means we get pretty good value at wide receiver with Justin Jefferson. I mean, come on, you can't ask for much more than that. Justin Jefferson's clearly the fourth pick. There's really no debate. And Deebo, I get him at around a 2-pick value. I do think Deebo is kind of being a little slept on this year. Coming off the board as the wide receiver 7 right now. I do love CeeDee Lamb, and I do love Mike Evans. Don't get me wrong at all. But I do think Deebo was the wide receiver 2 on the season last year. Shanahan clearly knows how to use him. People are saying Shanahan's going to use him very differently, which is possible. But Kyle Shanahan loved using Deebo last year. There's no reason to think that that is going to fully slow down or stop in any way. Um, Deebo was a beast wide receiver. Finished as the wide receiver too, as I said. I mean, that's just insane. Finished as the wide receiver two, and is going off the board as a wide receiver 7. There are definitely doubts. New quarterback coming in Trey Lance, but Trey Lance is looking like one of the most expensive picks in all of NFL history. I mean, the 49ers traded half their franchise to get him. So they're putting him in stock, and they know more than we do. So I'm assuming Trey Lance will at least be a good fantasy quarterback. I don't know. Obviously, I'm not an NFL scout, but the NFL teams know much, much, much more. Nick Chubb comes off the board here. They know much, much more than we do, so I will trust them. Here we're going to take Keenan Allen. We're going to get our third wide receiver. We have absolutely monster wide receivers right now in this draft. Absolutely monster wide receivers. I was really hoping for Nick Chubb there. I do think Nick Chubb would have been better, and we do kind of need a running back. But at 45, we can always get somebody like Cam Akers, Breece Hall. There are a lot of guys at 45 that I would not mind starting as an RB1. And now our wide receiver room is absolutely insane. I mean, Justin Jefferson, Deebo Samuel, and Keenan Allen. Oh my God. Can't ask for much better wide receivers than that right now. We have A.J. Brown coming off the board here. Pittman always coming off the board early. People love their Pittman. People really, really love their Pittman. I feel like it's something, it's like a badge of honor to like say, oh, I took Pittman at 30. Oh no, I took him at 26, bro. I love Pittman way more than you do. It's like a badge of honor at this point, so I let people take their Pittman very early. Uh, Let value fall to us. We can get a guy like Keenan Allen here. Not too mad. A.J. Brown and DJ Moore. DJ Moore, I do respect reaching on at this point a little more because the situation he's in has now improved drastically. Uh, Obviously, Sam Darnold's one of the worst quarterbacks we've ever seen, and Baker Mayfield is probably not good, but he's better than Sam Darnold. I don't think there's any debate about it. Then we have Josh Allen coming off the board, where he pretty much always goes. I mean, he's always falling between 29 and 34, always pretty much. James Conner, Kyle Pitts, Waddle, Travis Etienne going above Alvin Kamara at this point. Travis Etienne has been soaring, absolutely soaring upwards. And it's not hard to understand why. I mean, he's in line for an absolutely massive target share. I don't know if at this point he's a value anymore. Seeing him at 35, that does seem a little high to me. But I think it is possible he could still be a value. Because if he does pop off and become that DeAndre Swift type, he will be going in the second round of best ball leagues next year. It is entirely possible. I mean, we didn't get to see his rookie year, so I guess I do understand it as well from the perspective that James Robinson is missing the first 6 weeks of the season. Then we have Marquise Hollywood Brown coming off the board and Alvin Kamara, Cortland Sutton, Deontay Johnson, and Terry McLaurin. Again, the wide receiver range, this is where wide receivers go, which is why I'm a little bit surprised to see these 3 running backs coming off, or Travis Etienne coming off as early as he does. Now we kind of have a lot of running backs in this tier. I imagine Zeke's off the board by the time we pick. I was just going to say Darren Waller as well. And they both come off. So now we can take, we're pretty much torn between, I'd say 3 guys. Whoever we end up with, I'm fine with. Although I am a little worried, Socrates probably will take a running back of some kind. I think we're okay with it. It is possible. I do like Jerry Jeudy here as well. I think Jerry Jeudy would be an interesting pickup. Not really needed for the structure of our team. Obviously, we have wide receivers on wide receivers, but it is interesting. It is a nice thought. Gabe Davis comes off the board. I think here we will go Cam Akers. Cam Akers obviously should ascend to be the RB1 in that offense. And then next round, we take Breece Hall or Jerry Jeudy, if not David Montgomery or Rashad Bateman, George Kittle as well. All these guys, I do really like the value in this range. There's a lot of great picks in this range. You really can't go wrong with any single one of them. A lot of these guys do have, at least 1 or 2 running backs, so it is possible Breece Hall could fall, although I don't imagine he will. Same thing with Jerry Jeudy. I don't see Jerry Jeudy lasting a pick 52. But it would be really nice if we could get some value on any one of these three players that I have starred at this point. Jerry Jeudy coming off the board exactly at his ADP. I guess, honestly, if Pat Mahomes were still on the board, no, I couldn't even justify it. Hopefully Lamar, Pat Mahomes can come off the board here. Top Dog just drafted Lamar, so probably not going to take Mahomes here. But it is possible. Maybe he's feeling a little zesty. He goes Rashad Bateman for the stack. Getting a Lamar Rashad Bateman stack. I mean, it is a very good idea. Now we have Breece Hall and George Kittle both still on the board. Both guys I would be eyeing up right here. Probably would prefer Breece Hall over George Kittle because we can get Dalton Schultz in the next round. Although Dalton Schultz is obviously worse than George Kittle, it is probably better. Come on, don't snipe Breece Hall here. Come on. He goes Breece Hall. We get sniped. Now we take torn between David Montgomery and George Kittle. We probably will go George Kittle here, allowing us to only take 2 tight ends, which is very nice. Now we have a pretty well-rounded offense. We really just need a quarterback here at pick 69, where we can get somebody like Joe Burrow, or 76 even, where we can get somebody like Russell Wilson. I do like it. I kind of wish that Breece Hall value would have fallen. We were pretty close, 1 pick away. It is possibly could have fallen, but it doesn't fall this time, and that's okay. We still get our guy in George Kittle, one of the top 5 tight ends. Then DK Metcalf coming off the board at pick 53, David Montgomery 54, Brandon Cooks at 55. We should start seeing a little bit more of these wide receivers go off, as there is a tier break after Darnell Mooney. We'll see a couple more quarterbacks come off, like Kyler and Jalen Hurts. Chris Godwin will be off the board as well. It is possible that Amari Cooper falls to us, and in that case, we would maybe have to consider him over guys like Elijah Moore, as there is a tier break there. A lot of these guys are really like exactly the same in ADP because it's hard to tell the difference between any single one of them. Darnell Mooney coming off the board at pick 57. Probably the second to last wide receiver I would value. I was going to say Chris Godwin's up there. And Juju Smith-Schuster, I mean, I don't really have too much Juju because I like other wide receivers in this range. But Juju is some guy that if you sleep on, he can burn you. I'm not saying he will, but he does have the potential. You know, dropping 1,400 yards on his sophomore season, I believe it was. So it is entirely possible he could absolutely burn. He has the ceiling to do it, especially with Pat Mahomes versus the corpse of Ben Roethlisberger and being injured last year. TikToks do scare me a little bit, but nonetheless, if he can produce me fantasy points, I will not complain. J.K. Dobbins coming off the board at pick 59. Elijah Mitchell at pick 60. Just take this time right now to please, if you guys could, go down to the comments. Please leave me a comment. Like this video if you enjoy the content. Please, if you guys enjoy, subscribe. It would honestly mean the world to me. I would appreciate you guys so much if you could subscribe if you do enjoy the content. If you don't enjoy the content, please go down in the comments and let me know why. Let me know what I can improve on. I would love to hear your feedback, anything positive, negative, whatever. And with that, we're going to get back to the video. We got Dalton Schultz coming off the board at pick 61, making our George Kittle pick look a lot better. Jalen Hurts at 62, Amari Cooper 63, Amon-Ra St. Brown at 64. We already got receivers. We're chilling in that regard. There's guys we like on the board. 3 guys in particular. And we're 4 picks away. Now we're 3 picks away, and there's 2 guys we like on the board. I'm a little worried. Socrates is most likely going to snipe us on Josh Jacobs. If not, Mighty O'Neal will. But I would really like Josh Jacobs right now. If we could get Josh Jacobs, that would be absolutely insane. I would actually be so happy if we could get Josh Jacobs here. Adam Thielen coming off the board. Rohrster already has 3 running backs. And his running backs are insane. He has no reason to go running back here. He needs to bolster his wide receiver core. So I'm imagining that probably most likely will go wide receiver. But we will maybe get sniped on one of these running backs. But that means we will take the other one all day, and be very happy. Whoever Socrates decides to let fall to us, we will be happy with. As we see this wide receiver run coming off the board, there's a lot of wide receivers in this range. A lot of wide receivers very similar in terms of ADP. I do like the Drake London pick. I was hoping he could fall a little further, but it just doesn't happen. Not the case. He goes Josh Jacobs. We take A.J. Dillon. If Aaron Jones goes down, A.J. Dillon's the most valuable handcuff back in the league and was getting a pretty hefty workload. During the season, he actually outpaced Aaron Jones in terms of workload the last 5 or 6 weeks last season. So it is possible he does get a premier workload. And here we could go Antonio Gibson as well. Double up and get 3 decently strong running backs, at least running backs that we can have some confidence in. I don't really feel comfortable with the wide receivers in this range, and the only quarterback I'd want to take would be Joe Burrow, and he probably will fall to us. Honestly, I'm torn between Joe Burrow and Antonio Gibson, but I think we will go Joe Burrow here, and then hope to get Damian Harris to pick 93. It is possible we don't. It is possible we don't at all. If Joe Burrow is off the board, though, we will take Antonio Gibson. But I do think the drop off at QB is probably just as substantial as drop off in running back, but maybe Antonio Gibson is the pick here. I don't know. Leave it in the comments. What do you guys think? Do you think Joe Burrow, Antonio Gibson is the pick? Honestly, I'm pretty torn. I do think Joe Burrow probably is the right decision points wise because he will probably put more points on the board than Antonio Gibson. But it is possible I am making a mistake here. If you guys think I'm making a mistake, please put it down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Russell Gage coming off the board here. I'm not touching Devonta Smith with a 39.5-foot pole. There's just no way. There's just no possible way. I think we do take the value here with Joe Burrow. Unless A. Christie decides he likes him a little more, but he's already got Justin Herbert. I'm kind of falling in love with the idea of Joe Burrow at this point. He goes Hunter Renfrow. We go Joe Burrow. We get a really well-rounded team. We got Joe Burrow and George Kittle. Good running backs. Obviously, phenomenal wide receivers. Now, all we really need is a flex spot, wherever we can get it. Potentially, hopefully, another QB. A lot of these QBs probably will be off the board now. A lot of these guys don't have QBs here. More than half don't have QBs. I mean, I would say Socrates, Roster, Edelman, T. Ford, and Muggs all don't have QBs. At least half, I would imagine, will probably take a QB. That's 3 QBs off the board, including Russell Wilson, Trey Lance, and Tom Brady. Dak could make it back to us, and at that point, if he does, maybe we take 2 QBs and just have 2 fire QBs. But we shall see. Hopefully Trey Lance makes it back to us. Why do I keep doing that? Trey Lance gets taken right after we say his name. So we have this huge wide receiver run, then a little bit of running back action, clustered up, and then a ton more wide receivers. We will start seeing these quarterbacks off the board, as I just said. But right now, it's looking like a pretty interesting draft. I would say it's actually really interesting. So looking at some teams, let's look at Socrates right next to me. He's got Jamar Chase, Mark Andrews, A.J. Brown, Gabe Davis, DK Metcalf, Josh Jacobs, and Antonio Gibson. That's an interesting team. I mean, he obviously waited very long to get his running backs, Josh Jacobs being his RB1. In that situation, I would be like a little concerned to have a team where Josh Jacobs is your RB1 and Antonio Gibson's your... Actually, no, that's like pretty good. All things considered, like that's really like not a bad team at all. Josh Jacobs and Antonio Gibson is a really good team. At least for upside wise, I mean that's very smart. DK Metcalf, Gabe Davis, AJ Brown, Jamar Chase. You have 4 great wide receivers and an insane tight end. Now you just need a decent QB, which is looking less likely now that Trey Lance, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, and Dak Prescott all have come off the board. You still can get a guy like Matt Stafford, but it is possible you get sniped. It is very much possible. And honestly, if Socrates does not go QB here, I'm going to speed it up a little bit. I'm going to take Matt Stafford myself, most likely. Or Damian Harris or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, one of the 3. If I can get to him. I'm imagining Socrates probably will take Matt Stafford here. He does seem like a very experienced drafter. He's drafting. Although I don't like the players he's taken very much. I'm not too big of a fan of A.J. Brown, Gabe Davis, or DK Metcalf. I think in terms of getting value on players, I think he did a really good job. Now Matt Stafford is off the board, which means Socrates now is in a bit of a predicament. My comrade, he probably will snipe me on a running back now, I will imagine. Kareem Hunt does come off the board here. So now we got 2 picks away, and we got 2 running backs that we like. Roster, again, has 3 running backs, takes Marquez Valdes-Scantling, so we don't have to worry as much. Socrates on the board here. I'm fine either way. If he wants to take Clyde, he can take Clyde. If he wants to take Damian Harris, he can take Damian Harris. I'm fine with either one. I prefer Clyde just because he's 8 piece higher. I do think he has probably a higher ceiling. I mean, Damian Harris pretty much 15 touchdowns last year. He's not getting much better than 15 touchdowns, but he could increase his workload a fair amount. We'll see who Socrates takes here. Socrates goes Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks has fallen an absolute ton in drafts this year. We get Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Now, I am hoping for Damian Harris. It's probably not going to happen. I mean, 6 picks away and he is the top person on the board. So it is unlikely, but it is possible. If not, there's a lot of wide receivers I like. Chris Olave, Sky Moore. I like Kenneth Walker, and I like Dawson Knox. There's a lot of players in this range, again, that I like. Even Chase Edmonds here would be fine. I'm imagining Socrates has to go with Aaron Rodgers here. I can't justify taking Aaron Rodgers pick 100 when I already have Joe Burrow. Although it is an interesting actually, it is possible. Maybe I probably won't be able to get him at the next pick. I would imagine 117. It would be interesting to absolutely screw Socrates and also have 2 great QBs. Damian Harris comes off the board here, unfortunately. Because getting honestly, I think I will go Aaron Rodgers here. The only other person I could talk myself into is Dawson Knox, but I do like the value at tight end. 2 rounds later, and we already do have George Kittle, so I do think getting Matt Stafford here probably is the move. Maybe Chris Olave is the only other person I could talk myself into. Chris Olave would be a good pick too. Because I do think Chris Olave is walking into tons of volume, absolute tons of volume. I mean, who's his competition? Jarvis Landry, Michael Thomas plays. Oh no, but we're gonna go Chris Olave here. Actually, I'm imagining Aaron Rodgers probably will come off the board to Socrates right now, which is a little annoying. I was kind of hoping to get Aaron Rodgers here, but I think bolstering our room is pretty smart. And now we get hopefully run a more Christian Watson in the next couple rounds. We really bolster our wide receiver room, our already stacked wide receiver room. Running back room's pretty good. Our quarterback room's good. Our tight end room is good. I like all these players. Garrett Wilson coming off the board here. I don't know how Socrates is imagining taking a QB. I would be taking a QB every time here. He's already got, I don't know, 7 wide receivers? Something like that. It's an interesting draft. It's fun to watch. It is also nice to watch and keep an eye on the people around you, like a Christie and Socrates, because you can see how they're going to draft more so. If you know the guy in front of you has 7 wide receivers, you can feel a little more comfortable passing on a wide receiver in that round and then waiting for the next round. It's a little tough if you're pick 6, but if you're pick 2, for instance, or 3, you can really gauge that, or 10 or 11 for that matter. You could really use it and gauge it, and get some values that you otherwise might not have by doing that. Which I think is good. That's why I kind of like drafting at the ends a little better. It's a little more predictable, but you can't go wrong either way. Here we got a little bit of a running back run coming off the board. Cordero Patterson, Devin Singletary, Rashad Penny, Melvin Gordon. It is interesting to see. I think a little bit more of these wide receivers will start coming off, considering a lot of these guys don't really have that many wide receivers. I mean, 3, 4, 3. Socrates has the most by far. Aaron Rodgers comes off the board, which is to be expected. And now Derek Carr as well. Now there's really a huge jailbreak in quarterbacks, which is good for us because we have Joe Burrow. We do want these quarterbacks to come off the board. We want them to come off the board as quickly as possible, so we can get value. We can get value with somebody like Kenneth Walker here. That would be great if we could get James Cook potentially. That'd be great. Christian Watson. Not really targeting Kirk Cousins here. Tyler Boyd, Zach Ertz, Ramondre Stevenson. Don't really like any of those names where we are. Would have been nice to get Chase Edmonds, although, the situation I'm in, I imagine it wouldn't have happened. Kenneth Walker, same thing. I mean, it would be awesome. And then we'd have four running backs who could potentially all start. But Kenneth Walker comes off the board as well. The only other pick I'd really like here is James Cook in terms of running backs, but I think taking Christian Watson and getting a fifth wide receiver is probably great. And maybe Ronald Jones or one of these two wide receivers in Rondell Moore or Michael Gallup. It honestly would be smart to take Ronald Jones here, because then no matter what, I'm monopolizing all the Chiefs' running back system. Whoever the Chiefs decide to go with, I will have. I will have feasting. And if it's week to week, let's say Clyde starts 3 games, then Ronald Jones starts 3 games. Then it doesn't really matter. It's a nice tandem at that point, which I do like to have in this situation. So I'm really hoping here for Christian Watson. Kirk Cousins coming off the board, if not James Cook. Either way, we're really in a good position to take who we like. Thinking Socrates needs a quarterback, but I couldn't imagine him reaching on one here. He's gonna have to take somebody like Zach Wilson, which I know he's highly experienced. I know he's got 6 wide receivers and a smart team, but I just can't see waiting this long on QB. I just don't think the value's there once you get past Kirk Cousins. Unless this guy's a premonition from God. A premonition from God on Daniel Jones, on Justin Fields, someone like that. I just don't think it's possible. I think a lot of these guys will be taking running backs here. I don't see any way James Cook is on the board. It is possible Rondell Moore is on the board, or Ronald Jones. I'm a little worried. Irv Smith coming off the board here. Okay, that's good. We like to see that. Get Irv Smith off the board. I'm good waiting one more round on tight end, waiting till 141, and hopefully getting some value falling to us. Not sure if it will fall to us, but a lot of these guys already have tight ends, aside from Mr. Straight, so it is possible. I think a lot of these guys, Roster has no tight ends, Mighty O'Neal has no tight ends. So it is possible 2 tight ends come off the board to them. This guy's Dalton Schultz, and he reached, so he must like Dalton Schultz a lot. So you probably won't go tight end. We'll see a few tight ends coming off the board here, but it is possible we can get value. Hopefully with like a Freiermuth or someone of that nature. James Cook coming off the board here. Now we got Rondell Moore and Ronald Jones calling our names. If not Madison too, I'm fine with that. Madison probably, in my opinion, one of the best handcuffs in the entire league. Unless you're talking about AJ Dillon, but AJ Dillon don't even count as a handcuff, really. I do like this team a ton, an absolute ton. We have so many good wide receivers. The running back room is interesting. Quarterbacks, just one, but great. George Kittle, great. Ronald Jones coming off the board. I don't know who I like here more. I guess we'll see who Arch Christie takes. I'm imagining he only has 2 running backs, so I would lean him taking Madison over Rondell. Either way, though, I'm not too surprised. Jameson Williams. Here's Jameson Williams. I will probably take Madison here. This isn't a draft I tend to have, but I have been mixing up the order a little bit with my wide receivers taking 3 right away, which is something I don't usually do, but I think the value just presented itself totally. I do really, really, really like this team. It is interesting. I haven't really gotten Madison in too many leagues, and I'm glad that I can get him here. Glad that I can get Christian Watson, my guy, Chris Olave, at a value, in my opinion. Wow, it's pretty interesting team. Let's just look over some other teams. We got Roster, Austin Eckler, Saquon Barkley, obviously 2 great running backs. Then DJ Moore, Allen Robinson. Not really too sure on these wide receivers. Allen Robinson, I think he does have a high ceiling, especially being in that Rams offense. I don't know. He looked so bad last season, and maybe it was the offense. Probably was. But even still, Darnell Mooney was able to eclipse 1,000 yards, whereas Allen Robinson had, 400? I do think Matt Stafford's obviously a massive upgrade from Justin Fields, but I just don't know if Allen Robinson has the juices anymore. I don't. It is possible he does, and it makes me look like a fool, but I'm just not sure. And I'm not willing to take a risk on somebody that high who clearly could have ran out of juices. Whereas you could take somebody like Jerry Jeudy, who could be fueled with juices. Dave Montgomery, Drake London, Trey Lance. This is a good team, though. I guess besides MVS, I don't understand MVS at all. Uh, Cordero Patterson, and then Fields and Cousins. Yeah, for me, I just think the whole philosophy is to not take a quarterback here with Kirk Cousins or Fields, because if you wait, if you go 1 or 2 rounds up, you're getting a much, much higher quality quarterback. Not to diss Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins slang like 33 touchdowns and like 5 interceptions last year. He's a beast. But at the same time, yeah, it's Kirk Cousins, It's not somebody who's gonna put up an elite ceiling. Whereas if you go some like 2 rounds up, Trey Lance has an elite ceiling. Joe Burrow has an elite ceiling. All these guys have pretty elite ceilings. Just look at the board here. We have Rondell Moore gone 1 pick after us. Then Justin Fields, Pat Freiermuth, Dameon Pierce. Then 4 straight wide receivers. 5 straight wide receivers now, which is good for us. We want these wide receivers off the board. We already got value aplenty at wide receiver. We got great wide receivers. Now we're hoping for one more tight end. If we could just get one more tight end, that would be awesome. George Kittle's got a week 9 bye. Cole Kmet and Mike Gesicki do not interfere. And all of these guys have at least one tight end except for Arster. This guy, there's pretty much no way he takes tight end, and he doesn't. Isaiah Spiller coming off the board here as well. 5 more picks until we are up, and there's 2 guys we want. 4 picks, 2 guys. 2, I think, is an interesting option here, but the problem is he doesn't really offer any rushing upside, and his touchdown upside is pretty capped. So I think we're going to wait on somebody to take... it's an interesting thing. Who do we take at QB later? We don't really have any stacks we could take advantage of later. Maybe Jameis Winston. That's really it. Cole Kmet coming off the board. It is possible we get screwed here. It is possible Roster takes Robert Tonyan. We don't get screwed. Unless Socrates. He's got Mark Andrews, though. He's got Mark Andrews. I still am a little worried. I'm pretty worried. He does go Mike Gesicki here. I'm actually really worried. I think he could easily go Mike Gesicki here. Looking at the running back landscape, it is pretty good for him, considering he does need running back direly. But he could be waiting even longer. I don't like any of these names, really, that are here right now. He goes Robbie Anderson. We go Gesicki. Okay, so now our tight end room's really balanced. We only need 2. I really like this team. We could pretty much just draft best available player at this point. We don't even need to look at the tight end room again, which is nice too. So you see that this tight end streak always does come off the board here quite frequently, and a lot. Now that we have Mike Gesicki, if Tua does fall, we could get the Tua stack. It's a weak stack, admittedly, but getting a Tua stack here would be nice, honestly. I do think we should go to a stack here. That way we really do only have to take 2 QBs. 2 QBs in the same draft class, no less. I'm really talking myself into it, and Tua isn't even on the board yet, or isn't, still 4 picks away. It is possible we don't get him, we just get sniped. If not, I'm not touching Trevor Lawrence. Top dog goes Chark. And that way, if we get Tua too, we really only need to draft running backs and wide receivers. And at this point, there's a lot of guys we could take. Get Tyrion Davis-Price as running back 5, and then just hammer wide receivers. Hammer an already stacked wide receiver room. Or we could even go 6 running backs here. I think we should go 6 running backs here. Because these running backs, well, good, will all have upside. None really are going to be able to start week 1, aside from Cam Akers and maybe Clyde, probably. A.J. Dillon, it is possible, too. They just hand him the full workload, but you never know. Madison, there's just no shot. So we probably will take 6 running backs here. Matt Ryan coming off the board, 146. What did this guy also reach on Pittman? He did. Double reaches here. Complete double reach. We're open for Tua. We're eyeing up Tua. Tua had 3 rushing touchdowns both seasons in his first year. That's actually, or his first 2 years. That's crazy. I don't imagine him to do that again, but 100 rushing yards is actually slept on pretty decent. I mean, are you kidding me? I talked myself into him too much. That's my fault. That's entirely my fault. I talked myself into him too much. I got too happy. That's my fault. That's my fault. So here we're just absolutely devastated. We're crushed. But we get Van Jefferson, who I still like. Take a 6 wide receiver. We could honestly, it's crazy. I mean, now we probably might take 3 QBs. Honestly, what I might do is I might wait for Baker. Pick like 180. It's possible. I'm hoping for Algier or Tyrion Davis-Price. Probably not gonna happen though. If not, I'd like to get one more wide receiver. Maybe Mark Ingram, but I don't really like that. We really need Tyrion Davis-Price and Tyler Algier to come back to us. That's the one problem with running backs, I think, is that with wide receivers, it is deeper. There are more wide receivers you could take and expect value out of, like a Van Jefferson who could just pop off and get tons of value. But Michael Carter's not getting value without an injury. Neither is Nyheim Hines. A lot of these guys aren't getting values without injury. Whereas the wide receivers still potentially get value without injury. That's why I like taking these running backs earlier. Obviously, your ceiling is higher if, let's say, for instance, Jonathan Taylor does get injured, and Nyheim Hines' ceiling is fairly high. But realistically, how high is it? I mean, it can't be much higher than a high-end RB2, which still is good, I guess. But I mean, if Jonathan Taylor goes down, they're going to bring in another running back. They simply have to. If they didn't bring in another running back, I would blame management. I would honestly just blame management. There's no way the Colts manager can be good if they don't bring in another running back behind Nyheim Hines. In the case of Jonathan Taylor, substantial injury. Tyler Algier coming off the board here at pick 155. We're probably, most likely not getting Tyrion Davis-Price. There's pretty much no way. 7 people are ahead of us. Miss Seeley was having exactly what I wanted. Exactly. He just got what I wanted. He just went out there and took it. It's okay. It's okay. We'll take either James Winston or Daniel Jones here. A little perturbed. I can't believe I just went out the word perturbed. I'm sorry. Studying for the SAT. No, just kidding. But we'll probably end up taking James Winston or Daniel Jones, one of the two. Trevor Lawrence comes off the board. Good. I didn't really want him anyway. Even though I do think he has a lot of potential. I mean, obviously he was stuck in like one of the worst situations we've ever seen. But Gardner Minshew performed well in the same situation. I mean, not really the same situation, different head coach. But in terms of talent around him, probably pretty similar. Trevor Lawrence, though, I do think has good potential. I think you can make an argument that he will have a much better second year. Obviously, the talent is completely there. We're probably going to need to go JMO here. We're definitely going to go JMO. Jameis Winston. At this point, I haven't really taken too much Jameis. This guy could go Jameis. He hasn't even taken a quarterback yet. That's crazy. Oh my god. This guy has 9 wide receivers. What the heck is he? What is he going to do? Who is he taking Jameis? Is he really taking Jameis? I'm just amazed watching this guy. It's really interesting to see. Absolutely, really interesting. He'll probably end up taking 3 QBs, I guess. I would assume. Maybe he really likes Mac Jones. He goes Khalil Herbert. I just don't understand. I mean, unless his plan is to, I guess, take. Oh, that's actually genius. Imagine he goes Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson, the 2 former Cleveland QB and Cleveland QB. That would actually be genius, because your floor is obviously extremely low. But your ceiling is so top tier. I think if he does that, honestly, I think I might start doing that a little bit. That's like really smart. If that's what he decides to do. I may end up taking Deshaun Watson just because we have room to play with. In terms of the fact that we're not getting 3 tight ends. We're probably only getting one more running back at this point, now that Tyrion Davis-Price and Tyler Algier are off the board. And we'll take 1, maybe 2 more wide receivers. Probably just 1. Actually, probably 2. I mean, I'm probably most likely gonna take George Pickens here. The Steelers, they know how to pick their wide receivers. They know wide receivers better than any other team in the entire league. They produce great wide receivers year in and year out, and they never have to re-sign. Like, oh, bye, Juju. We don't need you. Oh, they're probably going to do the same thing to Deontay. They're going to do the same thing with every wide receiver that they have. And they're grooming Pickens, and they're just absolutely insane at picking these wide receivers. Like George Pickens, they're picking Pickens. Yeah, we're taking George. So now we're at 7 wide receivers. I'm just going to turn these 3 on, even though we really don't need QB. I do think potentially next round, getting Deshaun Watson. I pick 189. Is possible. I'm imagining Socrates probably will snipe me at 188 for either Deshaun Watson or... actually, let's see. He might take a QB here. He doesn't. He goes in Njoku. Yep, he is 100% taking Deshaun Watson in the next round. That Njoku pick is just absolute proof that he's taking Deshaun Watson in the next round. Honestly, I'm going to start copying that strategy. I am 1000% going to start copying that strategy. That is so smart. Again, floor really low. Ceiling is insanely high. The only thing I would change probably is taking like 1 or 2 more running backs higher, most likely. But at the same time, he does have Mark Andrews, which is really good. I mean, it's pretty much like having a wide receiver 1. So I mean, overall, I do really like the strategy that this guy's employing. I really do. Oh my god. I'm definitely, and if not, I'm gonna ruin this guy's strategy too. I'm sorry, Socrates. You're a genius, very smart man. But if you don't take Deshaun Watson here, pick 188, you're getting screwed. You're getting absolutely screwed. Here we do have another tight end coming off the board. I'll take a look into this in a little while. So since Tyrion, Trevor Lawrence, Marvin Jones, Daniel Jones, 2 Joneses in a row. What a coincidence. No Fant, Alec Pierce, Khalil Herbert, James Winston, and then James Robinson, Paris, Nico Collins, Darrell Williams, Jamal Williams, 2 Williams in a row too. Oh my god. Mark Ingram's got a little bit of what they call a running back run. 4 running backs coming off the board in 6 picks. All terrible running backs, but what can you do? They all can operate as valuable backups, potentially. We got Will Fuller, Sammy Watkins, KJ Hamler, Curtis Samuel, Wanda Robinson. Doubling up with wide receivers here late. Now we don't have to touch any more wide receivers again, which is nice. It is really nice. The one thing is, though, like, if Socrates is planning on taking Deshaun Watson, what I don't understand is who's he going to get for the first 8 weeks of the season? I mean, he probably, I would assume, has to take a QB for the... Because I'm just interested to see this guy's strategy for my own sake. Plus, it is so different, so unlike what most other people do, that I would imagine... I just want to see what he does, I guess, you know? It is interesting. Usually you see a fairly fair distribution of people taking, wide receivers, tight ends, all that stuff. But in this case, seeing people go for the extremes, even more extreme than me, which I haven't really drafted too extreme in this draft, but sometimes I will draft extreme if that's the way the value lands. Jared Goff coming off the board here as well. But I just really want to see what he does. I'm like really intrigued. Here we most likely will take our Deshaun Watson. Yeah, I mean, it'd just be like so insane. Just the upside, the ceiling of Joe Burrow and Deshaun Watson. I'm technically burning a quarterback spot on Jameis because of it, but it's really not too bad considering I have my boy Chris Olave. So I think it is interesting. AJ Green coming off the board here. Then Raheem Mostert, Ryan Tannehill, Rarster already has 3 QBs. Who does he have? Oh yeah, Fields, Cousins, and Lance. Yeah, Rarster with an interesting draft. Very diversified. 3, 4, 5, 3. Thank you for your $5. Let me see what he has. I just don't understand drafting like this. 3, 4, 6, 3. Terrible tight ends. And it's not even like his wide receivers are that good to compensate. His running backs are stellar, but everything else stinks. I guess his quarterbacks are, with having 3, probably about league average. All right, this guy has to go. I would be shocked if he doesn't go to Deshaun Watson here. I'd be actually really shocked. Yep. Oh my god, I'm a genius. I'm honestly a genius. Mega strategy. I respect the hell out of that strategy. Now we have to switch up our tactics a little bit, though. We're going to go Devin Duvernay. We're definitely going to go Devin Duvernay here. And then probably get a wide receiver. Wide receiver. Probably get a running back. Like Donta Foreman. Another backup type. And then maybe even go with one more wide receiver here. So we get Donta Foreman, backup role in mind. It is possible. I mean, he did play fairly well, serving as backup to Derrick Henry. But I might have to start drafting more, getting Deshaun Watson really late. Maybe I take 1 QB early, then wait till really late and get Deshaun Watson. So that way I have 1 good QB and Deshaun Watson. I think I'm going to do that. I think it is smart. Focus on ceiling, again, rather than floor. That's what we're going to do. So 100% what we're going to do from now on. Maybe even, I wonder if he has Amari, too. Nope, no Amari. But it would be interesting to get Amari as well. Again, this is a best ball draft, so it is about the second half of the season, more so than the first. Obviously, the first matters because you want to make it into the tournament, but at the same time, once you're in the tournament, anything can happen. So getting those Deshaun Watson, Amari Cooper stacks, if Deshaun Watson plays half a season, you're chilling. Just want to say one more time, if you guys could, please go down in the comments, leave me a comment, tell me how much of an idiot I am, tell me if you like the draft, tell me what you think of the value, please leave a like as well if possible, and please, if you could, subscribe. It really means so much to me. It really helps out the channel, so I can start producing more basketball content at a better quality. And let me know if there's any content that you guys would be interested in the future. If there's anything you want me to do, say, see, really anything, collaborations you guys want me to do, anything, I would be more than open to pretty much anything. So that would be awesome. But anyways, back to the draft. Here we got Brian Robinson coming off the board. Thought he would take a QB2. He hasn't. Chris Evans. I mean, fantastic name. You know, very similar to an actor, also named Chris Evans from OBJ, Taysom Hill, David Bell, Austin Hooper. I keep taking an interest in Socrates' draft because I think it is really interesting. He has to go QB here. I'm imagining I know who he's going to take. His name probably starts with Baker, and his last name's probably like Mayfield or something. If not, probably Wentz. Because he does have a Gibson, and Gibson Wentz stack would be interesting. Oh, he probably is going Wentz. What the heck am I saying? You got Brian Robinson, he's got Gibson, so he'll go Wentz. He's smart. He's buying into that offense. Very, very smart. Let me know if you guys think that Socrates had a good draft or not. I'm interested to see. I, and if you guys are interested to see a video of me drafting in a similar style, waiting till very, very late to get QBs, please let me know in the comments as well. Now we got Aaron Rodgers, long lost cousin Amari Rodgers, also on the Packers. Terrace Marshall, Brevin Jordan. We'll probably end up taking James Washington here and call it a night. It is 12:30 at this point. Crap, I do have work tomorrow. It's gonna be a little tough to get up, but you know what? We make it work. We make these best ball drafts work. We do. Put out the best content for you guys. We are 6 picks away, and then I probably will wrap it up. Just wanted to say before I go, thank you guys so much for watching. It really does mean a lot. All the support and everything. Thank you guys so much. It is awesome. Helping me to potentially, do what I love full time, one day, hopefully. That would be absolutely fabulous. And just, building great fantasy rosters. That's really what it comes down to. And teaching and educating you guys and educating me to make the best fantasy decisions possible. That's the hope. That's the goal. And we will get there as a team and as a community, as the Almanac community. Wit 51. Making his pick here. He goes James Washington. Absolutely tearing our hearts out. I'm just kidding. At this point, the draft is pretty much done. I'll take anybody. Anybody can get my grubby paws on. Really, there's not too many guys left that are even somewhat desirable. Probably guess I go McKenzie. He's on the board just because of ADP. At this point, I don't know. Jalen Guyton. I actually don't even know how you say his name. I should look that up. We got Byron Pringle coming off the board. Byron Pringle, likely looking at decreased role for Isaiah McKenzie. You know what? Just because of that, we're going to switch it up. Here's who we're going with. We're going with Khalil Shakir. I do think Khalil Shakir has the opportunity to get some good workload in this offense. All right, now I predicted his last pick. I'm predicting this one. Let's get Carson Wentz off the board here. Take your guy. I still don't understand this as much, though, because at the same time, how are you going to make the playoffs with only Carson Wentz as your starting QB next year for at least 8 games? It will be a struggle to get a lot of points on the board if you have Carson Wentz. That's why I do think you probably need a good QB to support the strategy. But it is interesting. I probably will adapt a similar strategy of my own. But either way, now this draft is pretty much over. I don't think you guys probably care too much about Christie's pick, M Straight, or Top Dogs. Last picks. So I will wrap up the video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed the draft, and good luck in your own drafts as well. And I hope you guys have a great night.